Hello, today's video is going to be all about how you can use a muffin tin to entertain your kiddos of varying ages. I will start with the younger kiddos, then I'll work my way up towards activities for older kiddos. But with that, let's jump right into it. Here is the first activity. Alright, activity number one, I have chosen to do in our larger muffin tin, although it will work in a smaller muffin tin, or obviously if you don't have a muffin tin, you can use a different container. But what I've done is pulled a bunch of random blue toys and put them in the little compartments. I have toys made of different materials and with different textures and that do different things. Some of them barely fit, but that's okay. And we'll just explore it. We'll talk about the color blue, maybe if things are rough or if they're smooth. Yeah. All right, activity number two, I pulled out the smaller muffin tray and I filled it with her animals. Obviously, she has grabbed the turkey. So for a kiddo her age, I'm just going to tell her, you have the turkey. Turkey says, gobble, gobble, gobble. Now what? Pick another one. You have the sheep. A sheep says, bah. So obviously for an 11-month-old, I'm just helping her learn what the animals are and saying their names. If you had an older kiddo, you could ask them, can you get me the cat? And test recognition. So obviously I'm doing this with animals. You could easily find things of different colors and work on colors. You could use letters. It just depends on your kiddo's age and getting creative. Oh, thank you. We're sharing so well today. Do you want to turn? Another way to use a muffin tin is upside down, particularly if I put her smaller toys in here. Where's another? I guess if I lay the dog down. She's going to have to use more fine motor skills to pull them out. It's not quite as easy, although she likes flipping them around and making noise. That's one way to get it out. But this can be good for little babies. She's mastered that pincer grasp and like raking. But if you're trying to teach that skill, putting a toy or maybe a binky, something that they really like in there, is one way to do it. Ani's favorite ways to use a muffin tray is for snack time. Now, I didn't get creative today. I just put Cheerios in all of them. But some days I do Cheerios, sometimes I'll do frozen fruit. Whatever it is, it just makes snack time a little different, a little more fun. And yeah, it just makes it a novel experience. And you like it, don't you? You like it especially when I put different food in each tray. But I didn't prep as well as I should have. Ani has recently become obsessed with magnets. So if your child is old enough or you have big enough magnets, this can be another great activity. So she just likes pulling them off and putting them on. So like I said, if you have some magnets that are safe for little kids to play with, this can be a fun activity. Another fun activity to work on some fine motor things is scooping or working on pinching. This is obviously for an older kid. This would be for a slightly younger kid. But they scoop whatever you have. You could use cereal, little toys, whatever, and then they pour. And then if you wanted to get a little bit more specific, maybe you're putting a given color in each one. And then what you want them to do is match. So I get a red bear, and that's just how you up the difficulty. Like I said, for a younger kid, you might just go with them scooping and filling because they're getting used to the movement and you don't want to overcomplicate it when they're first learning a new skill. And that's it. Next activity is color sorting. There are a bunch of different ways to do this. The way I'm going with is I put red, yellow, and green, and then you would have your child pick from these toys and line up the matching colors. So if I have red, I know the tomato is red. I'm basically going for a red column. The other way you could do it is to get a construction paper, cut a circle and put it, and then they would just pretend that's construction paper, they would put the matching toy with the matching color. You could also easily do this with shades. The best example I can think of is if you have a bigger pack of crayons, they could put the matching shades in a row, or all of the matching, let's say all of the green shades here, blue shades, red shades, and so on. Another activity with muffin tins is sequencing, and this works on moving from the top left and across, and then down and across. And obviously I kept this pretty simple, but if you used a bigger muffin tin, it would be more complicated. So what your kiddo is going to do is take the first piece and add it to the second piece, and then add it to the next, and then add the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then at the end, they'll see their finished product. Now, if your kiddo has already mastered sequencing, another kind of fun and more creative way to do this would be to just put, particularly if your child is using bigger Legos, just putting a couple pieces in each little pot and letting them see what they can creatively build with what you give them. Another great activity is shape matching. So obviously I'm going to do mine with a bunch of shaped buttons that we have. If you don't have shaped buttons, you could cut shapes out of paper, you could use shape sorter shapes, whatever you have on hand will work. But basically I'm going to give my child a bunch of shapes and they're going to match it. It's a star. There are the stars. What else do I have? An oval. Oh, 2 red ovals, and so on and so forth. And what I've done here is for a kiddo who is learning to count. I just went 1 to 4, but obviously you could fill them all out. And they're going to say 1, and they're going to put 1 in. And then 2, and they're going to grab 2 manipulatives and put 2. So if we're just learning how to count, we do want to keep them in sequence to teach them. But if they're a little bit older and working on number recognition, maybe I'm mixing the numbers up, you know, so it might be 1, and then maybe I have like 10, 7, 15, whatever it is, you're mixing them up, and then they're saying, even though it's out of sequence, oh, I know that 3 means that I grabbed 1, 2, 3. And that's just another way to build on the skill. Another way to up the difficulty depending on where your child is in school is by going with math facts. So obviously 8 minus 5, I know that's 3. I'm going to grab 1, 2, 3 manipulatives, place them in. And obviously as we're moving into basic multiplication and division, that will work too, just as long as you have enough manipulatives to answer each question. And then if you want a child to be able to self-check, you could put the answer on the bottom, which I did not do, but you could write the answer back here, and then they could check, oh, it's 3, 1, 2, 3. I got it right. Another activity is word matching. So I went through this book, I pulled out a few words that I know that we'll see, and then I have some markers. In this case, I just pulled some Cheerios because it's still snack time. And what we would do is, as we read the book, we would look for the matching words. So obviously, just for time's sake, I see blue, I know I have blue, so I would mark it. You're not necessarily expecting your child to read in this case, but you're helping them match. And then you can work on the letters and things. So that's that activity. It's just word matching. You can also set this up as an independent activity, and they can just look through a book to try to find the matching word. Another activity for older kids, and obviously again you can customize this one for where your child is at, but that is working with money to come up with different amounts. So if your child has what each coin is worth mastered and also understands the addition, you can just do it like this. So I'd see 75 cents, and I would reach in, and I know that 3/4 is 75 cents, and I would put that in here. Now, if your child does not have a good grasp on what each coin is worth, you could give them a little cheat sheet. So you put a quarter there, and you say that's 25 cents, and so on, a dime, 10 cents, blah, blah, blah. You could also go so far as to put 4 quarters and have $1. So help them however you can. Also, depending on what you're trying to teach, you could allow them the use of a calculator to make this a little easier. So depending on what skill you're going for, you can adapt this. Another activity utilizes sight words and a book that you know has those sight words in it. And what you do is just put a few of them out, plenty of markers, and then you start to read together, saying, anytime we see one of these sight words, we're going to mark it. So little blue truck, horn went beep, engine purred, friendliest sounds you ever heard. Little blue truck came down the road, beep, said blue to a big green toad. So you would keep going throughout the book, and then at the end you could talk about how many times you saw the sight words. Obviously, if your child is just starting this process, you're going to need to help. For a child who is learning their letters and that different words start with different letters, this is another one that is completely adaptable. So the way I have it set up is I just went A, B, C in order, and maybe I give them 3 toys and help them figure out apple, apple. What letter makes A? So if your child is new to this, it might help to give them 1 letter at a time, so say A, and 2 different toys, and maybe you work together on apple says ah. What says ah? carrot or apple, and then apple. If your child is a little bit older and more proficient at doing this, you can go ahead and give them the bigger tin with more letters. You can also mix the letters up, and maybe you give them a container with a bunch of different toys, and you're having them sort through the toys to find which toys go with what letters. So in this case, maybe block and bear go with B. So this is one that's sort of infinitely customizable for where your child is at. And last but not least, the final activity is a reading comprehension / focus type activity where you would read a book either with your child, or if your child's old enough, have them read it to you. And at the same time, they're going to try to find characters or words from the book in a bin, a bowl, whatever. Depending on the age of your child, you might keep it all just toys, or you might find like flashcards or put their sight words, however you want to do it. But essentially, you would just work with them on, as they hear a word that's represented in this, they're going to pull it out and put it in the muffin tin. So for this one, I might say, the little blue truck. And if they want to, because the little blue truck is in the title, they can pull the truck out. And then as you start reading, I'm going to skip a few pages. So, little blue truck came down the road, beep, said the truck to a big green toad. I know this is a frog, but let's pretend it's a toad. Toad said croak and winked an eye when the little blue truck went rolling by. Sheep said bah. Cow said moo. Oink said a piggy. We don't have a piggy. Beep said blue, and so on and so forth. So obviously I put some extra toys in here that aren't in the book, like a Santa, a cowgirl, a ball, and if you had a younger child, you could just give them the toys that you knew are in the book. That pretty much finishes today's video. The best thing about these activities is they are highly adaptable depending on skill level, sensory needs, developmental level, all of those things. You can take these activities and modify them for either skills your child is trying to learn or just master. But hopefully you got some ideas from this or found it helpful, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye!